Welcome back to the channel, guys. Thank you so much for tuning in. On today's episode, guys, I've got a couple news stories I want to go over that I believe are super bullish for the Bitcoin and crypto industry. Now, before we get started, guys, as always, this is not financial advice. I am not a financial advisor. Also, too, guys, know full well if you're invested in these markets, I still believe that we are fully in the depths of the bear market. I have no idea how long this bear market's going to last. I have no idea when the bull market's going to start. I have assumptions, I have opinions, and I have theories, but I don't think at this point there's anyone on YouTube or any financial analyst or expert at this point that can tell you when this bear market's going to end, when Bitcoin's going to go up, because there's a variety of factors, one being geopolitical and economic factors that are out of our control, and we truly have no idea when the next black swan event's going to happen. Now, with all that being said, let's go over to coin market cap and let's just look at what the markets are looking at right now. Bitcoin's sitting at right under 27,000, 26.5. Ethereum right under 1,600. Ethereum down almost 3% on a week. So we're really in the midst of this bear market. These assets have been kind of trading sideways for the last couple months. And normally, guys, this is when I like to buy. This is like when I like to buy. I like to buy when stuff's boring. I like to buy when nobody's talking about Bitcoin and crypto. I like to buy when the markets are red. But I did run across these two news stories that we're going to go over. And I think it's super bullish. And I think that, you know, there could be light at the end of the tunnel and that maybe this bear market is almost over, perhaps. Check it out, guys. This is from Forbes, guys. This article was just posted on September 13th, so 10 days ago. NASDAQ readies itself to list a spot Bitcoin ETF. So, guys, you know, I don't want y'all to think that a spot Bitcoin ETF being launched is going to be 100% the start of the bull market. But keep in mind that this Bitcoin spot ETF has been talked about for a long time. It's been talked about for a long time. There's been a lot of financial experts and been a lot of crypto influencers, financial influencers that told you that this spot ETF was never going to happen, that Bitcoin was going to zero, that Bitcoin was going to be dead, that nobody was going to be investing in Bitcoin anymore. Now in the NASDAQ, the financial markets are going to be listing a spot ETF very, very soon. Now, I don't have the paid version of this article, so I can't read it to y'all. But I did find another article that kind of breaks it down, and I think it's actually better than the Forbes article, and it's from the street. So check this out, guys. This is really interesting. Fund manager says BlackRock ETF will drive $150,000 Bitcoin price. Mark Youssef of Morgan Creek Capital Management thinks $30 billion will flood into approved Bitcoin-focused BlackRock ETF. And it says this in the article, guys. The number of regulatory requests to offer a spot Bitcoin exchange-traded fund coming from a range of institutional financial firms has led to bullish speculation and remarkable excitement from the crypto market. As the U.S. SEC considers such filings from BlackRock, Fidelity, ARK Invest, and more, it seems like at least one upcoming approval is just a matter of time. The SEC is set to hit its next set of deadlines for approval decisions in mid-October. And in the meantime, investors are left to speculate about which firm might receive approval first. So that's right, guys. So ARK Invest, Fidelity, and BlackRock have all filed for these spot ETFs. Do you guys not think they know something? Do you think they'd all be filing for these ETFs if they didn't know that this was going to be approved? And they're saying mid-October. So this is really, really close to the Bitcoin halving. This is mid-October. That's just a couple weeks away. This is going to allow billions of dollars of institutional money from Wall Street to flow into Bitcoin. This has never been done before. So this is really an unprecedented moment. But let's continue the article, guys, because it gets more interesting from here. Check it out. Mark Youssef, the chief investment officer and managing director of hedge fund Morgan Creek Capital, is picking BlackRock. And he says this: I believe, and I've said multiple times, that BlackRock will be the first one, Yusko said during a recent appearance on a Paul Barron network. I might even go stronger and say that they might be the only one. It's certainly possible. That's probably more likely is BlackRock first, and then a Gap, and then some number of others. But the thing is, whoever's going first is going to get a vast majority of the assets. Now, that's a prediction I've had on this channel, that BlackRock would be the first to have their spot Bitcoin ETF approved. Now, he says that potentially they could be the only one to get one approved. I don't think so. I think, you guys, you don't think Fidelity is going to have a Bitcoin spot ETF approved? You don't think Cathie Woods and ARK Invest are going to have their Bitcoin spot ETFs approved? No, that's going to happen. I predict, not financial advice, guys, I predict BlackRock is going to get theirs approved first. Then, like he says in the article, that there will be a gap. And then, the Fidelities, the ARK Invest, all of those will come next. Now, what he says is, let's continue the article because it's getting pretty crazy, guys. It's getting pretty crazy how many predictions I've made on this channel that's actually come out to be true. Yusko prediction that BlackRock received first mover advantage in offering a spot Bitcoin ETF and will lead him to believe the product will capture a lion's share of the $30 trillion managed by firms that would seek Bitcoin exposure through a regulated ETF product. Yes, guys, so obviously we know that BlackRock has a ton of assets under management. We know that BlackRock has said that a perfect portfolio with them would be an 80% Bitcoin allocation. There's a lot of reasons for that. But guys, Fidelity has a lot of assets, Vanguard, there's other institutions that have a ton of assets under management that are beating at the SEC's door to get this deal done. What is holding it back? Is it Gary Gensler? Is it Joe Biden? Is it Congress? We don't really know, guys. It's a lot of different factors, but let's continue the article because it's super bullish. In my eyes, this is a really bullish article. And given that so much Bitcoin is locked into wallets that may never be accessed again or is sitting in the hands of hyper-convicted holders who won't sell, Yusko went on to make a bold prediction for how so much institutional capital will impact the Bitcoin price. He put the dollar figure for free float Bitcoin, the amount of Bitcoin that is readily available to market, at just $100 billion. So guys, what he's talking about right here is that, okay, so we know that Bitcoin has its fixed supply, but we also know that a lot of the hodlers as we call them, they're holding Bitcoin and they're locked in wallets or locked in cold storage that we can see the data on chain that this Bitcoin has not moved, that this Bitcoin is not being pumped and dumped, for lack of a better word. It's not being meant to just be, bought and sold really quick, that people are holding this the way Bitcoin was intended, as a store of value. So when we can see on chain that most of Bitcoin hasn't moved, and then we can also see on chain that there's a lot of people that lost their keys to their Bitcoin. So they had Bitcoin on some type of hard drive, or they had Bitcoin in some type of cold storage, and they lost their keys. So that Bitcoin essentially is lost forever. They can never recover it. So when you have an asset with a fixed supply and you lose millions and millions of that asset, it makes the asset's value goes up. The fixed supply gets smaller. Assets with a fixed supply, the price of Bitcoin will just keep going up. That's what he's saying here. Now, let's continue the article. I believe the ETF will be approved sometime around the end of the year. That will pave the way for a very large influx of capital, Yusko said. Let's say 0.1% of the predicted 30 trillion comes in. That's $30 billion. 30 billions on 100 billion. That will move the price. So guys, again, Bitcoin has a fixed supply. For this ETF to go live, they will have to buy actual Bitcoin. And guys, you can look at the data on exchanges. The exchanges don't have a ton of Bitcoin. So what happens when all the Bitcoin is bought, say off of Coinbase? When they buy all the Bitcoin off the exchanges, well, guys, the Bitcoin has to be bought from me and you watching this video. So if you made it this far in a video, you probably get this, and you're probably pretty smart. So drop me a 100 emoji in the comments. I'd appreciate that. Really helps the channel. All right, let's continue back to the article, guys, because it gets more interesting. I don't know who this Yusko guy is, but I kind of like him. Yusko added, the Bitcoin's upcoming reward halving event, when the Bitcoin rewards that miners receive is programmatically cut in half, will create conditions for a parabolic price increase, leading to a decidedly bullish price target. There's a built-in mechanism to drive the price higher. Every halving has added a zero, Yusko explained, adding that he thinks the effect of this next halving will be relatively muted, but could still drive the Bitcoin price exponentially. That gives us about 150,000 Bitcoin, something like that. So guys, look, I'm super bullish on this Bitcoin spot ETF happening. Do I think that's the end all be all for Bitcoin? Like, meaning that, do I think that this ETF's going to happen and Bitcoin's going to 150,000 per coin? That I don't know. But when we connect all the dots, when we look at, like he says in the article, that the Bitcoin halvening, an event that happens every 4 years, is coming up very shortly. And is it a coincidence that the Bitcoin halvening is perfectly coinciding with the approval of these Bitcoin spot ETFs? Again, that's what I told you on this channel, that the powers that be, the financial powers that be, are holding this asset back. It's the only thing that makes sense to me. So no, I do not think it's a coincidence that these spot ETFs are about to be approved right before the halvening. Again, Wall Street wants to get the price of this asset down so that they can buy at the lowest cost basis, so that they can prepare for the halvening. Now, again, other factors that make me think that is we know our federal government has hired a ton of IRS agents. We know that Biden is in the SEC are attacking crypto, that they are putting forth new crypto laws and regulations, and tax reporting laws are going in place right now. What do you guys think all of that's being done for? I think they're preparing for a massive Bitcoin bull run that will hopefully happen sometime in mid 2024 or late 2024, early 2025. That's my prediction, guys. Again, not financial advice. I buy Bitcoin and Ethereum every week. And, if you follow this channel, you see how much regulatory clarity. Guys, look at how much clarity we've gotten in these assets from when I started this channel, when a lot of this was maybe even deemed conspiracy theory. Now we have the biggest institutions in the world saying, like, yeah, we're actually about to buy it all. Yeah, we know we hated Bitcoin. We called it a Ponzi scheme. But, yeah, now we're actually going to buy it all. So you're seeing this Yusko guy and other fund managers repeating some of the same rhetoric that I've said on this channel since I've started it. So let's finish the article. Actually, that's the end of the article. So, but yeah, guys, so what do you guys think? Bitcoin, 150,000 per coin. Is the halvening going to be the catalyst? Is the Bitcoin spot ETF going to be the catalyst? Or perhaps it's a combination of all these events, and perhaps, we get a new administration into the White House, or perhaps the current administration does a 180 on crypto. I won't hold my breath on that. But again, guys, I think we're moving in the right direction. I think, with the inflation we're dealing with in this country, that investors and just everyday people are looking for a way to protect themselves against inflation. And I think that Bitcoin and digital assets provide us 100% the best ability to protect ourselves against inflation, the best ability to create generational wealth. But like I've told you guys, I don't just invest in Bitcoin and Ethereum. I don't put all my eggs in one basket. I do invest in stocks, mainly tech stocks. I do invest in real estate. I do believe in creating businesses that create cash flow. I think that's probably where my biggest strengths are. But it's these digital asset markets are absolutely fascinating, guys. And I invest in NFTs. I look for anything that can create alpha, that can create return. And again, guys, and especially if you made it this far in the video, you probably get it. You're probably pretty smart. And just ask yourself, guys, from when you've got into Bitcoin, from when you've got into digital assets, don't you feel that you just understand the world more? Don't you just feel that, like, understanding how these assets work, understanding how it's all interconnected geopolitically, we can really get an understanding of what really makes this world move. And by understanding, guys, understanding Bitcoin, this taught me how to understand money. And if you're not at that level yet, if you're not understanding how inflation happens, what creates inflation, then I think studying the Bitcoin white paper, and studying why Bitcoin has appreciated so well since its inception will really give you a better understanding of that. Anyway, guys, if you made this far in the video, thank you so much for watching. Hope you have a great rest of your weekend, guys. I'm out. Peace.